Do, 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 do. Hey y'all, hi, how y'all doing? Hey y'all, man, listen, I have been waiting all day long, really since last night, because y'all know I said, okay, baby, when I finish watching that new Diddy documentary on Peacock, I was like, oh my God, y'all, tomorrow, oh my God, we got to talk about it because we got so many questions. And then I don't know why, but for some reason my little alarm thing didn't pop up until 6 o'clock this morning to tell me, remember, Wendy Williams is on the Breakfast Club this morning, y'all. And for somebody like me who got into radio in 2004 officially, it someone like Wendy Williams help open doors. And so in essence, I wouldn't be here, right, if Wendy Williams didn't do the things that she did. And so it had been bothering me. And I won't get too deep into it yet because you see, right now, radio's in a different place. It's in a place where media, I won't even just say radio, I'll just say media, period, right? Media is in a different place where people consume media differently. I love it. That's how I'm able to be right here today, streaming live, doing Radio-Muva on a live stream. But unless you actually did terrestrial radio, okay, let's talk about it like that. Okay. Unless you actually ever did terrestrial radio, y'all, there are some things you will never understand. Just like anything else, if you did not do it in a certain capacity, certain things you will not understand. Here's another good example. A lot of my friends like to say, what was the big deal about going to HBCU? And I always say, listen, if you've never been to a HBCU, ain't nothing I could tell you that'll make you understand. So I cannot have a conversation about radio without having a radio Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? Without having someone who is a legend, an icon living. When Will Smith made that song, he wrote it about Rick Party, Party, Party.
What?
Woo!
What a
Wait a minute, why
segue.
can't I hear you? What am I doing wrong?
Wait. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
Is it me? Hold on.
Hello? Hello, can you
Oh
hear
man,
me?
that was a good intro too. That was a good intro.
I can hear you well. Can you hear me? What's
I don't.
going on here?
Maybe it's. Why don't I hear you?
1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2,
Oh,
2.
you know what I think it might be?
What?
Maybe the headphones. Let me see
Maybe your
something.
headphones? Can you hear me? Hello, 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 hello. Can you hear me? I'm talking. Hello, hello, hello. I can't hear you now. I can't hear you. I can't hear you anymore. I don't know why. I don't know why I can't hear you. You're muted. Mute. You're muted. Click the mute button. Mute. 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 Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? You have the mute button.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. The mute button was off. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Why can't I hear you?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm about to call you on your phone, Rick. We're going to do this old school style, and you tell me real quick what's going on. Y'all try this at home, okay? Test your settings.
Call me on this number right here. I'm gonna send it to you.
I just didn't want to be late for y'all.
Wait. Can you hear me? Oh no, she can't hear me.
Rick, party.
You can hear me?
Oh Lord, your voicemail came on.
Oh shoot, hold on.
Okay, well just text me what I need to do. Why can't let me see something? Okay, I took this out. Okay. There we are. Rick party, party, party. Oh Lord. Hold on. Call me again, Rick. Call me again. Call me again. Hey, okay, I'm here.
What's going on?
I'm on StreamYard. Really? So that means there's got to be something in my settings. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're about to learn a settings trick too if you use StreamYard. Okay, so I have a Mac.
So go in your audio settings.
Okay.
On the top left.
Uh-huh.
Then look for, say I have a Windows now, but look for where your audio settings are.
Got it. It's up.
So what do you see for your microphone and your input and output?
Let's see. Yeah, because I think I was just changing it on StreamYard. All right, so microphone. Okay, I need to put it on the USB microphone for input, and then output is as internal speakers.
No, use the microphone too if you have.
Use the microphone for output too.
Because you're listening through the microphone, right?
Yep. He is so smart. See what I'm saying? That's why we work good together, baby. You know what I'm saying? Because not only are you the legend, but you also a tech guru. All right. Okay, so now let's try it. All right, so on StreamYard, my mic is okay. Let's one check, 1 2 1 2. All right, and so my speaker. So you saying change the speaker as well?
Yeah, to the microphone as well.
Okay.
To the microphone output.
All right. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. What you are witnessing, ladies and gentlemen, is the equivalent of old school daddy. Not seriously, y'all. I just want to make sure we work the kinks out. Hey, Rick. I still can't
Can you
hear
hear me
you.
now? How about now?
You know what I think it is?
You can't hear me now?
I think I might. Let me see something.
Hello, hello, hello. Mm-hmm.
So, okay. That's
Roadcaster
one thing.
mic.
Now, let me try this.
I'm going to keep talking. Maybe she can hear me if I
Okay.
keep talking.
Let me try one thing because I can't hear you.
I'm going to go out and
Let
come
me
back to you just in case.
change.
Hold on.
So when I do the audio setting on my other screen, it plays and it's connected as well. But I think if I do the output as, here we go, let's try that. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's try this. Mic check, 1 2 1 2.
Hello, 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 hello.
I can hear you.
Finally.
Best believe I'm editing all that out.
Let me tell you that introduction though, that introduction was everything. I'm like, okay, where's she? Oh, I see. It was she. I couldn't even get it out my thought, but it was like there. I was like, that's what I'm
Don't
talking
worry,
about.
I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah, do
So,
that. Here we go.
you know, radio
Take me off stage again and take me off stage.
Okay,
and
we got to do it all over. We got to do it all over.
Yeah.
Rewind. Okay. So, y'all, excuse me. No, I'm still getting over pneumonia. Excuse the coughs. But if you have not ever done terrestrial radio, and when I say terrestrial radio, I say that because I don't want to see old school radio, right? Because one thing about radio, baby, it is not going anywhere. It is still old faithful, right? But if you never did terrestrial radio, then when I try to talk to you about terrestrial radio things, you're not going to understand what I mean. There's just no way you can. Now, today I know media is podcasting and everybody is a personality and this and this and that. And that's fine. That's great. I love the way it's evolved. That's why I'm here today doing Radio-Muva streaming. But you see, Wendy is part of the reason that I'm here today. Okay. And there is no way that I could talk about terrestrial radio, right? And not talk to a radio Hall of Famer, somebody that helped pave the way for me, a legend in radio and voiceover. Ladies and gentlemen, an icon living. When Will Smith wrote the song Icon Living, he wrote it about Rick Party. Big ghetto round of applause, please, for Rick Party, Party, Party.
Woo!
Hey.
That is probably, no, I'm not saying probably, that is the best intro I've ever had in my life.
I'll take it. It's
that
true.
segue was like, it was perfect. That was like, oh my gosh, I love it.
Hey, Rick.
Hey, Tangi. I'm sorry. Let me get this right. Hey, Radio-Muva.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Radio-Muva. Yes.
Hey, you know why? Do you even know why I said Radio-Muva?
Cause you're the Radio-Muva, but tell me why, man. Tell me, because your mother that does radio and you have so many mentees under you. I don't know. Tell me why. I'm just guessing.
Kind of something like that.
Yeah.
You remember when Nicki Minaj was like, I birthed you?
Yes.
So, I was having a conversation with some people working under me, and I was just like, yes, I'm all y'all mother. Come here. Let me show y'all how to record this and do this. I birthed y'all. Come here. Like, y'all think y'all know it all because it's all digital, blah, 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 blah. Baby, let me tell you something, honey. I could do this too, but I birthed all of y'all. You here because I birthed y'all. Okay. So it just kind of stuck, and I just liked it. I just felt like, it made sense.
It fits. I mean, it fits. It makes sense to me. I mean, listen, I always, when you were my executive producer, I always felt like you were the mother of the show.
Because the mother get a chance to really go all the way like I wanted to, but that's okay because God had a bigger plan for us. Yes. I'd rather have you in my life for life than just a job.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we will always be tethered together. I'm working on some more things we're gonna be tethered to, with my sister, and I want you involved.
I saw that. We're gonna talk about that before you leave.
We're gonna talk about that too. Yeah.
We're gonna talk about that before you leave today. Well, I had to. The first thing I thought of was, okay, I gotta get Rick on the show. I pray he got a few minutes for me today, because Rick, I was literally in tears listening to the Wendy Williams interview, and I have listened to Wendy Williams interview this morning. If you don't know what we're talking about the fact that Wendy Williams, the exclusive interview, she was on the Breakfast Club. So, they had the first exclusive, of course, this morning at 7 a.m. And I mean, Rick, I had an alarm set in my phone for it to make sure that I was there for the intro and to the ending. Mm-hmm. And I could not help but cry. My daughter was like, Mommy, what's wrong? I was like, we got a free Wendy. We got a free Wendy. She was like, she in jail?
Did she know who Wendy? Did she know who Wendy was though?
Huh? No.
Did she know who? Oh, she had no idea. I'm like,
no idea. Right. She just know if I say, it's almost like if Mama rocking with it, I'm rocking with it.
That's right.
But Rick, what were your initial feelings when you heard the interview?
Okay, so I've heard some other Wendy interviews in the past, and I saw, of course, the documentary that was on television, or whatever you want to call it, on A&E. And she didn't look like the normal Wendy then.
Okay.
I felt bad for her then, but today she sounded better than that, but more like the Wendy I used to do that I really knew. And let me just tell you this. For anyone who doesn't know who I am, my name is Rick Party. I'm a radio host, and all the introduction that Radio-Muva gave, that's who I am, a Black Radio Hall of Fame. And I've done some things to earn that right to be put in the Black Radio Hall of Fame and align myself with great people like the Radio-Muva. So
you throw people off because you still look 21 is what the problem is. So,
56 and proud, like 56 and proud, 56. Yeah.
Say what now?
56 and proud.
Man, you look
56. Yeah, come on,
amazing.
come on, come on.
Amazing.
So part of my
Amazing. You need to be on
thank you.
that Instagram. I forgot what it's called, but it's like the I think it's called like the it's like the silver foxes.
The silver foxes.
Ooh, but they fine. No, you fine. You need to be on that.
Well,
Listen,
you know what I'm saying?
listen.
Thank you. You know, the funny
It's like
thing
they
is too.
all over 50. They
Yeah.
all over 50, and they, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They look good though. Yeah, they look good. And listen,
Absolutely.
men like that, they inspire me. But but when I think about my age, I mean, I've been around for a long time. When I go back, let's see, I'm 56. I go back 20 years. I was the morning show host at 107.5 WBLS.
Oh, wow.
And having worked all over the world in Miami, Chicago, Atlanta, Dallas, having a syndicated show. One thing I always wanted before working in New York City, you know, being a household name at 107.5 WGCI, I said, can y'all at least give me a billboard? Everybody knows me. But what I learned, Tangi, I mean, Radio-Muva, that's her
You could just say mother.
Radio-Muva. Mother, what I learned is that God gives you things when the timing is right. So circling back to New York City, I did the morning show. Wendy did the afternoon show. We actually worked in the same building.
Wow.
So I would walk down the hall to Wendy's office, and Wendy's a lot like me. Most of us, when we speak so clean and so perfectly, we have script. Okay, y'all? If I don't have script, or if I'm not too sure what I'm talking about, I'm gonna stutter a lot. I've dealt with dyslexia, ADD. I had a learning disability. So, and then when I really didn't feel comfortable with something, my stutter was really bad. And I never met anybody like that in radio but Wendy. I used to go down the hallway and Wendy and I, we'd be like, you know what I'm saying? Right? Yeah. You know, all these little filler,
and you said it exactly right. Filler words. See what I'm saying? That's another terrestrial radio term. That was a filler word. Go ahead.
We used to always use filler words. Like we would say, right? You know what I'm saying? So Wendy does that a lot. And when people hear her going, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And look, that, what people don't understand, like that is Wendy.
That
Like
is
when
her
I heard that,
personality.
I was like, that is Wendy. Like Wendy could never get her word out unless she had a script. And that was me. And it's something I learned how to do. So I'm excited to answer your question. When I heard that, I wasn't sad because that's Wendy. That's just the Wendy that people don't know. People always see Wendy you always hear Wendy with a script.
And a good wig. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And a good wig. But this Wendy that we heard was the real Wendy. I'm like, but y'all don't know her for stuttering and using filler words all day. That's Wendy. You know, so.
You know what's interesting? That we both had two totally different reactions, right? And to the interview today. Because I saw the documentary before and I teared up then. But then this morning when I listened to the whole interview and everything, I was sad and crying, and you were excited because you feel like, that's Wendy and that's Wendy. But it's so funny how we both have experience in terrestrial radio, yet, we have two totally different reactions to her interview. When I heard her, I was happy to hear her at first, right? And these weren't necessarily sad tears. This is mad tears. But then the first time I heard her trying to answer a question and she started to break down, and we'll play that clip in a few. That was it for me. Because how does somebody get there, Rick?
Yeah. Well, how does Wendy? Well, when you think about her quote unquote mental state, you're saying, or
no, her everything state. How in the world are we on the radio with the radio diva herself trying to break her free from people holding her hostage on her own damn life?
Well, I mean, if you really want to talk about it.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Hold on,
okay,
word to Kevin Hunter.
Okay.
You know me and you be in sync.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
We got to look. We talking about our eyes.
Right.
But But that I literally felt it in my chest, Rick. Like I'm like, how? Like we're sitting here talking about hashtag free Wendy.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're sitting here, we're on the radio saying, help me.
You know, when I think about this, and I think about how did Wendy get to where she is now. Wendy she was on how many years? 10 years, right? Or something like that?
Television?
Yeah. More than 5 years, and it takes about
It's definitely
5
more than
years.
5 years. That 10 years sounds almost right.
I think like
that
5
sounds right.
years, you like when you've been on TV for 5 years or something like that, you get that real syndicated dollar. However that goes, right? And when you reach a certain level of success, we're either going to be two black people. We're going to be someone who rides with it and takes it all the way and do something for our communities, or we going to go, yes, sir, what you want us to do? We have a lot of people that didn't do what they wanted them to do. And I'm going to mention some names that may sound familiar to you. Michael Jackson, Prince,
Oh, wow.
Bill Cosby,
Oh, wow.
Whitney Houston.
Wow.
Just to name a few. Where are they today? And they didn't live past a certain age. These are the most powerful people in their genre. Like you can't even compare them to each other. You can't. I'm just saying that. I'm just going to say this. There is where Wendy is. That's not by mistake. That's not by mistake. That's all I'm saying. It's not by mistake. We saw two different Wendys, the one on TV, and we heard a whole different Wendy today. You would think like a show that aired almost a year later that she would be in worse condition, but she's not. Now it has you asking, okay, was this Wendy? Did they put this Wendy on something? Did she have not enough sleep, or was she drinking? We almost believed that Wendy was out of here until we heard a brand new Wendy, so to speak, to some people.
Wow. You know, I see it's so, you know what's so annoying to me?
What's that?
If something is right in front of our faces, all right? And even with it being right in front of our faces, because I also hear that frustration in her family's voice, right? Like we see what's going on. Everyone sees what's going on because we're telling them that it was a documentary, it was this, it was that. And I feel like there's nothing I can do. I can get up right now, Rick, and walk out the door.
Right.
I can go upstairs. I can go in the kitchen and get something to eat. I can go driving down the street. But Wendy Williams
Right.
cannot.
One of the most outspoken people, black ladies that we've heard on television is virtually muted. She can't say anything. I mean, you know how much, when I hate to say this, but when you're in this space and we are who we are and we have too much power, yeah, they're gonna feed us a little bit. They're gonna let us have some, but when you do too much, AKA Diddy, then they gotta snatch.
Yeah, oh
they
boy,
gotta
that's
snatch that.
another conversation.
Yeah, you gotta snatch that rug. Like you not being a good representative. And some people will speak loud, and some people will, some people will be muted. Some people know how to tread that line carefully, and I love LeBron. LeBron knows how to tread. He knows how to toe that line. He's very careful.
Drake trying to tear that line down for LeBron though.
We're gonna talk about that too, because I saw that little beef and I didn't understand what was going on, but I guess you feel what I'm saying though. You feel what I'm saying? I used to think it was conspiracy until I woke up and the smoke cleared. I said the math ain't math in here. Like that does not make any sense. That is not the Wendy that I personally knew.
Now,
no.
Now here's my thing.
Okay.
Because I feel like, how like sometimes there's conversations we gotta have, right? And if you're just joining the show, Radio-Muva here live on the show today. Radio Hall of Famer, my man Rick Party, and we're talking about.
We gotta say National Black Radio Hall of Fame.
All right, now, come on now.
Black.
Say it again.
It's the National Black, and the reason why I put this stamp on that, because there's nothing better than being accepted by your own.
Period.
Yes.
Is there anything other than, you know what I mean?
But I didn't. I'm good.
Rick Party is, the only person that can give me a take on his view of past Wendy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Knowing Wendy, what we've seen kind of currently,
Yeah.
and give me another view on it. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like, Rick, there's some things that my grandma always used to say, you keep your business in your house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You sweep around your own front door. Don't worry about what's going on in their yard. You sweep around your own front door. And before you walk out the house, don't take everything out. Leave some stuff in the house that nobody don't need to know about. We talk about that in the house, not outside. Now, there are some conversations, Rick,
Mm-hmm.
that I want to have about this Wendy situation. But I feel like it's one of those conversations that we need to have in the house.
We in
One
the
part of
house.
it.
You in your house, I'm in my house.
Mm-mm.
We in the house.
And it's so crazy
I
that
know
I
what
feel
you're
like this
saying
though.
though.
I feel like I
Yeah.
don't want to give them any, and when I say them,
I know what you're talking about. I
you know
know
what I'm
who you
saying?
are.
I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
give them any more narratives or any more things to twist because I feel like, damn, like I felt like it was like the bat signal to the whole radio world. Like I know that the listening audience was listening,
Mm-hmm.
but to me, this is our sister,
Yeah.
Wendy Williams, our sister in radio. And she had to sneak and get on the radio
That's sad.
to say, help me, please.
Yeah. Free Wendy, y'all. Yeah.
That's
That's
the
my hashtag
hashtag.
right there. Yeah.
I mean, Rick, do you think that Wendy has played any part in her current situation? I'll ask it like that so that, we don't necessarily spin a narrative, but just have a conversation. Do you think
Um,
that Wendy has played any part in this?
I heard a quote, and it's supposed to be by Socrates. Socrates said, "A wise man knows he knows nothing at all."
Mm.
I know nothing. Only thing I know is the Wendy that I've experienced. Everything else that I've heard about Wendy has just been hearsay, has just been rumor. I've heard all the stories about drugs, and maybe she's talked about it herself or two.
Mhm.
She's talked about drinking. I've seen her have a drink or two, and I've seen myself have a drink or two as well. Um,
And
so
me too.
right, and I don't see any difference there. So I can't say that Wendy's current condition is attributed to to what she used to do. So I don't know. I mean, you see one Wendy on television, and she's sick from Graves' disease. She's falling out, and then you don't see the Wendy you used to know, and so it all just seems a little weird to me. I'm not gonna lie to you. Um, I
And
don't
and,
think
and
go ahead.
go ahead.
I don't think anything she's done is her fault. I
Mm.
just don't believe it. I'm just not buying it.
Mhm.
No, that's not by mistake. What's going on?
Mhm.
That's just my opinion.
So, as a woman,
Mm-hmm.
who is separated, hallelujah,
Mm-hmm.
as a woman who is coming out of a narcissistic abusive relationship, there are some signs I see that I feel like could have contributed
Okay.
to what got Wendy into the situation.
Um.
If we are, and we don't even know, remember, we watching, right? We're on the outside watching.
Right.
But I mean, from everything we've heard from Charlamagne, and shout out to Charlamagne, by the way. Everything we've heard from Charlamagne about Kevin Hunter, who is Wendy's ex-husband,
Mm-hmm.
um, and the dynamics of their relationship, right? I mean, it definitely seems like she was in a fog. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And was used to relying on him. And I'm sure that worked well for him because he was able to manipulate the situation on every asset, personally and professionally, to do what he wanted to do.
Okay.
The problem with that is once it started to unravel, you have a couple things here. Number one, a woman can almost get over anything except public embarrassment.
Mm.
The psychology of it, I don't know. But the real life deep down in your soul, mind changing, blowing, crazy feeling of being embarrassed by your man to a public level. And I'm talking about a public level, like not just your family and friends, right? But
Mhm.
like family, friends, co-workers, social media, right? Wendy Williams is an icon. So to think that her getting embarrassed like that in front of the world, I'm sure she knew he was doing whatever. But this man had a whole baby.
Mhm.
And it wasn't until we knew that she took action. Because if nobody knows about it, it's easier for us to not have to deal with it
Right.
and
You
keep
know,
going.
I always say, having been a young man who made some of these mistakes 30 years ago,
Mhm.
same things that no, I'm not, let me say, not same mistakes. Who made these decisions
Okay.
when I was young? When I look back at that, and we're always so quick to say, "Oh,
Uh-oh, Rick. Our screen froze.
screen."
Uh-oh. Can you see me?
You see me?
I can see you, but you frozen.
Uh,
You know what, devil? Listen, devil. Not today, okay?
and what I'm gonna do, right? I'm just gonna put my avatar there. You still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you, but okay, try to pop back in a few minutes, but go ahead.
Okay. Am I there? Hello, 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 hello. No, no.
You're there. You're there. We can see you. It's just a little bit fuzzy.
Okay. I don't know what's going on here.
It's the devil.
Um, yeah, it's the devil. So my message is, I'm just gonna do it for now and then come back in. My thing is, we're so quick to call women crazy, but we don't realize that we're responsible for that.
Oh my
We
God.
we are we responsible for that. Like I had to
Uh-huh.
really think about like what was my part in that. Like
Mm,
what did I do? I mean, people say that, hey, it's just
mm,
it's at least I didn't hit you. I didn't physically abuse you.
mm.
But what about the emotional abuse? The emotional abuse. What about the mental abuse? That stuff is long lasting. And
And
fellas, let me
that,
tell you, yeah, that's the stuff
that,
we're having. Yeah,
there you
we'll
go. There you
we'll
go.
have a woman doubting herself. Ask because we don't think about it. I had to wake up and like the older me told the younger me this. Do you know what you have done all of these years? And mother, when I found out, I'm not even lie to you. I cried. I was so embarrassed because there have been so many years of pain, and it can just change it. Some of the things that we do can change the trajectory of a woman's life. Like I had a
Mm,
conversation with my
mm.
first wife, and she was my first love too from high school. We had two
Wow.
children together. We were married. We had a conversation for the first time a year and a half ago. And do
Since
you know
when?
that we cried since like 30 years?
Wow.
She was
That's
she
all.
was
Excuse me.
upset
That's a
with
whole
me
nother
all
show.
she was upset with me all of these years, and she cried so good, and I said, I am sorry. I apologize for all the things that I've done because you were my biggest cheerleader. When I first started
Oh.
this radio journey, you were there when we were teenagers. You supported me, and I just got big and I just left.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I wanted to blame everything on her. Well, it was her fault that I did this because,
Mm,
you know, and when I think about me hurting her, guess what? You also hurt the children. And what we don't realize is that
mm,
if the mother in the house is not happy,
mm,
the household is messed up.
mm.
The children gonna be messed up. So I would
My
assume
God.
I'm glad to see that Kevin Jr.,
Mhm.
Wendy's son, is doing from what we see okay.
Oh
because
yeah,
his mother has been through a lot.
but you could just tell that she did her best to try to protect him and
Mm-hmm.
get him, away from all of that down to
Yeah.
Florida to go to school and everything. And I love to see that. But part of what we're witnessing, Rick, is the outcome of that. Let me
Mm-hmm.
tell you something. You will you do lose yourself. You become a shell of yourself.
Yeah.
And there was a period in my relationship, especially on the tail end during the discard phase, okay, which is what I can only speak for my relationship and my relationship with my father, which is a whole nother conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But the relationship with my daughter's father, he's a covert narcissist. Okay.
Mm.
And so the discard phase, I mean, you really think you're going crazy
Right.
because the women you think, is it my fault? And they make you think it's your fault. They gaslight you so much. And I know gaslight is a popular word now and everybody likes to use it, right? And a lot of people don't even really know exactly what it means
Tell
and
us
what
what it means
context.
then for people that don't know.
So for the people that don't know, gaslighting is when you clearly see something happening right in front of your face and you know the truth, you see the truth, you hear the truth, but that person is going to tell you, no, you don't see it. That's
And
not true.
oh,
You didn't hear that. You didn't, and they will tell you it so much that eventually you'll start to question yourself.
mm, wow.
And
I
you
was a
know that's
gaslighter. I was a
it's
gaslighter.
sunny
If
outside
that's
right
what it
now. No, it's
gaslighting is,
not.
I was a gaslighter in all of my 20s.
But you
If
know
that's
what?
what a gaslighting is, I was a
No, 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 no,
gaslighting
no,
in
no,
all of
no.
my 20s. Oh my god.
There is, but see, gaslighting is a
Mm-hmm.
symptom of. That is not the thing. Child, honey, I was a lot of things in my 20s. Some of them I don't want to talk about here because I might don't know the statute of limitations
Right.
on pimping. I'm playing.
Okay.
I'm kidding. But what I'm saying is, it's not, man, listen, nobody is perfect and it's not any of that, but we have to be able to, you see how you like grew and grew enough spiritually, emotionally, and emotional maturity is definitely a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to start to work through those things and understand those things. And that is what it takes. And that's amazing. And that's how I even got here. But I'm gonna tell you something, I almost lost my mind.
Wow.
And there was a period, Rick, you wouldn't have recognized me.
Mm.
And you
And
become so isolated.
right.
And I was so isolated. And you don't even realize what's happening. And your decision making starts to look like, your house starts to look like what you're going through internally because you're confused. Because everything you thought up until the point that you really realize who that person is and what they've done to you realize everything up until that point was a lie.
It was a lie. I had to and that's how I saw things. Like when I did the things that I had done, that's how I saw it. And now I can see I could then see why women felt that and why women felt so destroyed because I was in situations like that before and I had a time or two where I was cheated on, but I think the cheating started because I cheated, and then the woman that I was with wanted some get back to make her feel good, but she didn't really feel good because that she found out that's what she didn't want her to do, and it made me think about I'm responsible for that. And
Yeah, I mean that is something that, I mean, like I said, statute of limitations for my 20s, but that's
right,
different.
mm-hmm,
That is different. Okay. To be a human being with a personality disorder where you literally thrive off
mm-hmm,
tearing other people down,
okay, those
where
kind of
you
people,
literally, I mean, narcissists of all types that I've experienced will literally suck your emotional soul.
right? So these are
And
the kinds that really mm-hmm,
you don't know it because in the beginning, the first stage in any relationship with a narcissist is the great stage. It's called love bombing.
mm,
Even if it's a boss you work with, it's the
wow,
great stage. It's the everything you've ever wanted stage.
mm-hmm,
You're amazing. All eyes on you. They build you all the way up.
Yeah.
But then that can only last so long because it's hard trying to pretend to be somebody you're not. So then they start getting frustrated with you because they only have to pretend to be somebody they not because that's who they showed you they were. Meanwhile, you don't understand why they frustrated with you because you thought who they showed you was who they actually was.
Right.
So the resentment has started and you have no idea why. And it's because it's hard for them to keep a mask on. It's hot. Think about it with COVID. You hate like, okay, yeah, we got to wear a mask, but my God, I need to take it off. It's hot. It's hot. It's hot. It's hot. You get frustrated with it. You don't want to have to wear a mask always. And so you start getting frustrated with the person you're with because you think that they have expectations of you and they try to make you feel like your expectations are irregular, but your expectations are nothing different than it always was. But what always was not.
Wow. That sounds so sickening when I hear about it. So you telling me that there are people who thrive on this, people who actually go out and groom people who actually look for victims. Are they?
They don't call them victims. They don't call them victims because they lack empathy.
Okay.
They lack empathy.
Right.
And narcissism really is the next pandemic, the next epidemic. I don't care what nobody says.
Wow.
And I feel like it because of how my two worlds collided, being that going through this relationship, because I had to get to this point of maturity myself.
Right.
To be able to recognize it and then go to therapy. And while I was in it and start to learn about what was going on. And in that, I realized that my dad was a narcissist my whole life.
Wow.
And so it made my past and my present collide.
Wow.
And if you think looking at everything that you believed your life about was one way, is bad with a spouse, imagine doing it with a parent.
Wow.
Because once you know, you can't look at them the same. You don't look at your memories the same. You literally need to have a funeral for the life you thought you had with that person.
That's deep. Wait, you literally have to have a funeral for the life you thought you had with that person.
Yep. Because now things are different. Now I understand why, my dad did the things that he did. I understand why he was manipulative, even though I didn't know what the word manipulative was when I was small. I understand why I'm a people pleaser. I understand why I have a hard time setting boundaries. But I did not understand any of that until I went through this. But mind you, I've been dating my dad all my life.
All this time. So let me ask you something with that. So you said you understand why he had, and you're going to tell me the reason why you think he had, and when you found out, was it something worth forgiving him for?
So forgiveness is not for the person you're forgiving, it's for you.
Right.
And with that level of maturity that I had already come to a long time ago,
right.
The type of forgiveness I had to have was different because when you understand somebody's past, right, that also, you have to take that into consideration.
Exactly.
Especially in a situation like this where narcissists predominantly, according to psychologists, right now they don't have a cure for it. It's on a spectrum like autism. There is no medicine for it, particularly, right? There's different types of narcissism. My dad's grandiose. My ex currently is covert.
Wow.
And narcissism is predominantly in men who had childhood issues with their mother. Now, that could look like a lot of things, but I'll just leave this at that. And this is a whole nother show.
Wow.
My dad's mom, you want to know my dad's first name?
What's his first name? King?
Baby.
What is it?
Baby.
Baby. Okay.
You know how when you have
That's
a
his
baby,
real first name?
real on his birth certificate, on his license, on his
Wow.
everything.
Okay.
You know how when you have a baby,
Right.
right? It's
Uh-huh.
baby boy party, baby girl party,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
Well, my dad's mom came back from New York to give birth to him, and then she left him in the hospital
Wow.
and went back to New York because she was the side chick of my dad's father, and she realized he didn't want her. So she didn't want nothing to do with him. She didn't even name him.
Wow.
So her parents, my great-grandparents, God bless the dead,
Mm-hmm.
went to get him, to take him home because they're like, if you don't come and take him home, we're going to have to give him to the state.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to name him because we can't allow him to go home without a name because then we can't file for his Social Security card. And so my grandpa, my great-grandpa, it was the little sticker, forever on it, the little thing, baby, boy,
Mm-hmm.
we're just going to say party for this, baby boy party. And my grandpa said, okay, well, there go his name right there. Just change boy to Ray.
Right. Okay.
That's exactly what they did so they could take him home. And he's been baby Ray ever since.
You don't hear that noise in the background, do you? Please tell me you don't.
Mm-mm.
Okay, good. Perfect. Wow. So that's an interesting story.
So you want to talk about the levels of you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about the levels of trauma, the levels of things that, but you don't until you get to a different level of understanding, right?
Right.
Then the way you saw those things in real time are not the way you'll see them when you look back.
Right.
You know how we always say hindsight is 20/20, right?
Absolutely.
But the more you know, you can't unknow.
Mm-hmm.
So then there's no way that I can feel like, wow, now I feel like I owe people apologies. Because my mom's sisters, I remember how my dad used to treat them. I remember my dad taking me back from them when he got out the military. And it was just like a anger and like them back and forth. And I always feel like I had to choose between my dad's side and my mom's side. And
Right.
that does a lot to a child, the vindictiveness, the anger, the manipulation, all of those things that I grew up thinking it was normal.
Wow.
So when people
yeah.
start talking about unpacking,
Mm-hmm.
it's levels to this ish. Healing is not a one-time thing. Healing is not a one-person thing. Healing is not a one situation thing. Healing is not a one relationship thing. Healing is a lifelong journey. Because who in the hell thinks that they're going to turn 43 years old? I had to remember how old I was. Who in the hell thinks they're going to turn 43 years old, have a brand new child who is a girl? The dynamics right there are already different. And go through a relationship that is so traumatic that it takes me all the way back to the beginning of my life.
Oh my.
And now I'm having to clean up things as I go.
Do you find yourself when you trying to clean up things as you go, when you look at are you saying your daughter's name publicly?
Yes, Brookie's Playground. She has her own
Okay.
YouTube channel. It's cooking.
Okay, so when you talk about Brookie, do you see yourself when you see her, do you see it as a restart? Do you see yourself
Oh
raising
my God.
a young version of
Oh my
of
God.
mother
I'm
here
so
and doing it
glad.
right?
I'm so glad that you said that.
All right.
You know why?
Why is that?
My stepmother yesterday asked me, why don't put all your business out there? Stop saying what you're going through on the internet.
Right.
Don't put it on no videos. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But see, this is personal. People always talk about, tweet about, write about breaking generational curses.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That is my only mission
Mm.
in what I am doing.
Wow.
Because everything that I went through, I thank God for Brooklyn.
Mm.
Because everything that I went through, I appreciate it on so many levels, because if I didn't go through that, I couldn't recognize it. I
Wow.
wouldn't know how to protect her
Mm.
in those instances. And what my level of understanding is for this situation in my life is that this is a problem that affects too many people. And if somebody don't, the same way they sounded the alarm for Wendy Williams this morning, free Wendy,
Mm-hmm.
hashtag stop narcissism, hashtag find the cure. Because you see all these domestic violence, murders, people killing their spouses, their exes, their baby mamas, their kids. Excuse me. And a lot of it is just unhealed trauma coming to the surface.
Mm.
I feel a responsibility to share the things that I've learned and do my due diligence to continue to learn. Hell, at this point, I got a PhD from Narcissist University. Is doctorate higher than PhD?
Right.
Because that's what I'm back in school for then.
Right.
At Narcissist University. Because the protection that I can give Brooklyn is the same protection every other little girl who has been through something like that will need. And that starts with the education of it. And I'm going to tell you something else. Brooklyn's dad is my dad, remember?
Mm. You know what? I have to pause really quick, but I want you to talk to the audience. I'm gonna step out. I gotta do this recording for the network really quick.
Okay.
I'm gonna step off, but I want you to talk about if you noticed on the video, maybe you can find the video too, somewhere where Wendy is talking about she's celebrating her 90-something-year-old father's birthday.
Birthday, uh-huh.
And what a father truly means to a daughter. And I just want you to speak from how you felt. You know, whatever void that was missing when he was there, when he wasn't there. I want you to speak on that. I got to step out and I'm going to step back in and join you in this conversation because I got something to say about that too.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
So I'll be right back.
All right, guys. If you're just tuning in, Rick Party is live on the show today. And we started off, of course, talking about the hashtag FreeWendy. We got to do our part, y'all. We got to help get Wendy Williams free. And we kind of tethered off the topic a little bit. We just took a right turn around it because I was telling Rick that there's something about what I see in what's going on with Wendy, right? Like over the last few years, months, the documentary, today's interviews, that shows me that there's a part of something personal that has contributed to what's going on with her. And we started by saying, of course, Wendy is divorced. Her ex-husband, Kevin Hunter. I do not know him personally, but there is nothing that I have not seen from everything that I know about what Charlamagne has said, about what the news has reported that we found out was facts, about what we saw him do to Wendy and say to Wendy after they were, after it went public that he had another baby, and was taking care of the woman with Wendy's money, etc. That he is definitely on the narcissism spectrum. But more importantly than that, it makes Wendy a victim of narcissistic abuse in a relationship. So she was in a narcissistic abusive relationship. Now, like I was telling Rick, the word, I think, because it's becoming popular, we're just learning more and more about narcissism and all types and where it comes from, the psychology of it, etc. Y'all excuse me, the sun just came from nowhere. But it is important to know that you are not the same person after you have been in a narcissistic abusive relationship. Hell, any type of abusive relationship. But because narcissistic abuse is not visible, you can't see, right, a black eye or anything like that. But it's the gaslighting. It's the lifting them all the way up so they can just tear you down. It's the making you think you're losing your mind because you believe one thing, and it's the mask drops and you find out that person was never who they pretended to be. And then it's a lot. It's a lot, and it's even more when you don't even know what you're going through or what you've been through. And so I was telling Rick that I definitely see evidence of Wendy. Like, we literally watched her go through a divorce, y'all. Like, it, not just that, but what we saw publicly was only because, like I told Rick, there is one thing, baby. Women, girls, if I'm wrong, say it in the comments to me. Women, we can pretty much get over almost anything. But you see, when you publicly embarrass us, baby, bay to the B. That, you hear people when they be like, what's the cause for divorce and stuff? Irreconcilable differences. When you are publicly embarrassed. And so think about it. Because once the world found out about what her ex-husband was doing and he had a baby by somebody else and was taking care of them, etc., that's when Wendy filed for divorce. But you had to know that she wasn't just going through that. You had to know she wasn't just going through that. So what we saw, she didn't get a chance to grieve, y'all. Her life up until that point, and that is in any type of narcissistic relationship, whether it's personal, professional, family member, relationship, up until the point that you start to realize what it is and find out what it is and start your own version of healing, you don't even know what it is you went through. So imagine, it's like, excuse me, it's like having a sickness and not knowing what to call it. So you got a sickness, you don't know what to call it. So if you don't know what to call the sickness, you don't know what to take for it either. Remember when we got COVID? We ain't know what to take. Well, y'all can take Tylenol while we're trying to figure out what it is. Right? All my Haitian family was like, listen, go get roots and get oregano and go to the farmer's market and get this stuff and put this stuff together and ball this stuff so you can make this type of stuff to take, because there was no cure, there was no medicine. Hell, we did not even know what we had. So when you don't even know what's going on with you, how can you properly address it until you do? And then when you do, just like we're still learning about COVID all these years later and still handling ourselves differently because of what we learn continuously, it's the same thing. Once you learn that you have been in a narcissistic abusive relationship, then you have to look back and start taking account and inventory of everything from the beginning. And you realize there's 7 stages of grief, y'all. 7 stages of grief. So you think somebody just really gonna be able to let the life they had and the life they thought they knew, the life they thought they would have forever, die and just move on? If you are a normal person who is in touch with your feelings and who is able to feel empathy, there is no way that you can do that. But if you are a narcissist, or you have narcissistic personality traits, it will be super easy for you to move on because you don't care. You don't feel it. And everything's transactional. Not money, transactional. And so when we talk about on the documentary, Wendy was drinking and Wendy was this and she looked disheveled and she wasn't herself. Hell, she wasn't herself. You know how many miscarriages Wendy had with that man? The trauma of miscarriage alone, without anything else extra, is enough to make you lose your damn mind. And I ain't talking about nothing I heard. So if you talking about Wendy Williams, who had multiple miscarriages with this man, okay, who built her whole career, he managed her career, he was her husband, he managed her personal life, etc. It's easier to deal with when people don't know because you don't have to address it, right? And everybody thinks you're rich and you're pretty and you're on TV and you got money and you can do what you want to do. And at this point, you like, hey, he can do what he want to do regardless. I'll do what I want to do. Or however you choose, you're too busy. You don't deal with it. It's easy to get busy to not deal with stuff. But then when the wound is exposed and everybody can see it, now let's talk about the triggers. The main point of what happened when the news broke about Wendy's ex-husband was the fact that he got another woman pregnant and had a baby. So while you thinking she just care about him cheating, you don't know the pain she feel in her womb from the miscarriages she had. Every time you have a miscarriage, it has to come out of your body. Whether the doctor sucks it out or whether they give you medicine to help you pass it naturally. But either way, you understand that life is coming out of your body. It is traumatic. It is scary. It is scary to try again. And I only had one miscarriage. Wendy Williams had multiple. And the very person that she experienced so much life and so much death, the very man that was able to put life in her that died, that had to be sucked out of her, literally sucked the life out of her and then gave life to somebody else. But we ain't gonna have that conversation, right? Oh, it's just that she crazy. Oh, she just having a nervous breakdown. Oh, she got frontal lobe aphasia. Bullshit. She got brain fog. Because that's what the fuck happens when you come out of a narcissistic abusive relationship and you start having to deal with the fucking truth. It all was a lie. The only thing that's not a lie is the pieces you're left to pick up. You ain't the first. You won't be the last. But it can't stop if you don't deal with it and bring awareness to it. This is not, if you notice, even when Wendy tried to take jabs at her husband, she didn't do what she could have did. The lady was on TV every day and she's the radio goddess. Like if she really wanted to put him out there, baby, she could have dogged his behind from left to right, A to Z on every type of outlet there is. But she didn't do it. You know, she did it in her Wendy sipping tea way. Every now and then throw a little shade, say a little something, etc., etc. But y'all, she was grieving because now that all of this is going on, now the miscarriages are resurrected. Think about it. And what I mean by that is she has to think about them again because now she can't not think about him and not think about the fact that with all that they went through, he saw what she went through with every miscarriage. And yet he went and had a baby with someone else. Used her money to take care of the girl and the baby, to buy them cars, to buy them homes. And if you think it's anything rational or normal about that, about how he moved, and you think it's just cheating, baby, then you missed the whole point. Wendy is not the same Wendy, and she will never be. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I am not the same woman that I was before I was in a narcissistic abusive relationship. Even though I am at the end of the discard phase, right? It's still a lot. And I have a daughter. So again, my childhood, my womanhood collide because I have a responsibility to not only protect my daughter, but to educate her and educate others so that we can get help, y'all. This calling out narcissism is not to shame anybody, not trying to make it like, oh, you're just gonna call everything a narcissist. No, 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 no. It's not to shame anybody. It's not to shame nobody upbringing, etc. But if we don't deal with it, when you don't deal with anything, y'all, what happens? Huh? When you don't deal with anything, you know what happens? It gets worse. It gets bigger. It keeps growing. It keeps going. And sorry, I just heard some noises, didn't know what was going on. Everything okay up there? Okay. Y'all, I know I got a little long-winded. I want to thank Rick Party. Rick Party, please. Just know that I appreciate you just for being you. And thank you for being a mentor to me professionally and personally. And just continuing to be a good friend. And I want to say that, thank you so much for giving us insight on how it was working with Wendy Williams and knowing her back then. And, just even talking about how watching her interviews, how you and I had such different reactions, right? I cried and you were happy. Because a lot of times, y'all, we see things based on our own experience. So through the lenses of our own experiences. And that's exactly what it is here. I just want to say, Wendy Williams, we are praying for you. Okay. This is the hashtag. Okay. The hashtag is FreeWendy. The hashtag is FreeWendy. All right. So let's make sure that we're using that hashtag. Y'all, the irony of this situation is almost nauseating. Someone who dominated radio, someone who dominated television, is now locked away from her own life using the radio and using television to ask us all to help her get free. Do you understand the enormity of that? It is more than a hashtag. The hashtag, though, is the least we can do. Rick Party, I want to thank you again. If you have not yet, y'all, make sure you subscribe to Rick Party. On YouTube, it's Rick Party's Notebook. I'm putting the handle here. Rick Party's Notebook on YouTube. All right. Be sure to subscribe. Right. And this conversation is not over because it's so many dynamics to this Wendy Williams situation. And, it touches on a lot of the things that we touched on this week. And also it's True Crime Thursday, y'all. And if you don't think it's a crime to hold someone against their will from their own life, from their families, then we really in the matrix, because we can't be blind to what's right in front of our faces. You ever look around and be like, okay, I know the president see this. I know the mayor see this. I know. Help somebody. You can't lock people away for grieving. You can't take people who literally were born to be a voice, taking their voice away. If you take her voice away alone, that's enough for her to go crazy. You took her off the TV. And my God, the Wendy Williams show, the television network, the network, they definitely discarded her. And we think she's just supposed to be the same old Wendy? How? How? Are you the same person that you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago? And we're not even talking about everything that happened in between. How did this happen? Why did this happen? Can it happen to you? Can it happen to me? We got questions. We got questions. And the questions we don't ask today will be the conservatorship we're under tomorrow. It ain't that hard, y'all. Somebody's moment of sickness, of weakness, etc. And again, I ain't talking about something I heard. Because when my dad got very, 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 very sick, and we found out he had dementia and everything, the first thing they told me to do was I needed to get a lawyer and become his durable power of attorney so that I would be over everything. The difference is that I'm his family, right? So it's a little different. Well, a lot different. Wendy's family can't even get to her. And if that ain't criminal enough by itself, I don't know what is. We got questions. So we still got more to talk about. What is a conservatorship? How does it happen? Right? We'll talk about that next stream. Also, Sabrina Morrissey. She is the woman who apparently was appointed to be Wendy's quote unquote conservator, right? Who is she? And let's find out who she is, right? And y'all don't do nothing dumb, like try to go outside that lady house and kidnap her or do nothing crazy and throw eggs at a house and no. You can pick it legally if you want to with signs, right? But at the very least you can do, you can use your voice to say hashtag free Wendy everywhere you go, everywhere you know. Hashtag free Wendy. We're also going to talk about more reasons how Wendy got here. How did we get here? You hear Rick Party talking about him working with Wendy at WBLS in New York, them dominating radio there, and him being on One Day Part, she being on One Day Part, and how they both, use the same filler words in radio and stuff like that. And then you listen to her break down crying today because she's afraid she might not be allowed to go and see her dad for his 94th birthday. That broke my heart. Y'all, we can't be okay with that. We can't just say, oh, this must be just like that Britney Spears thing. Oh, okay. She going through what Britney Spears going through. We saw her on a documentary. We don't know. You have got to take into account that what a lot of us get to do in private, grieve, every level of grief, we get to do in private mostly. The average person. Not Wendy. So we got to see her drunk and mm, out of her mind and trying to find her way. It is a way back to yourself when you go through something as traumatic as a narcissistic abusive relationship, y'all. It really is. And so we've got to give Wendy grace. She is not a hot topic. Okay. She is the topic. But this conservatorship is definitely a hot topic. Because, like I said, the questions we don't ask today will be the conservatorship we might find our asses in tomorrow. No LOL. Hashtag free Wendy. Say it with me. Hashtag free Wendy. I want to know what you think in the comments, y'all. I don't know at what point you tuned in. I don't know at what point you watching now. But wherever you are in this video, whatever you've heard so far about Rick Party and I's discussion about after hearing Wendy Williams interviews today, because we also listened to the interview. Thank you to Charlamagne the God for facilitating that and making that happen on the Breakfast Club this morning. Because my God, y'all, we was. Oh, I know you don't even have to say it. Deep down in your spirit, you was worried about Wendy. You was worried about, and if we felt like that, and we don't know her for real, imagine how our family feel. How did it affect you? Have you seen it? Have you seen the Wendy Williams interview on the Breakfast Club? She also did an interview on YouTube with Don Lemon. Have you seen it? Any of it? Heard any of it? Heard about it? What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on what you know about what Wendy Williams is going through currently? And I tried to get my cousin. She's very busy. She's an attorney in the military. She's a JAG attorney. She's stationed in Kentucky. I tried to, after I heard the interview this morning with Wendy Williams, I tried to text her and pull a favor as well. I wanted to bring her on stream with me and Rick Party so that from a legal aspect, we could get a better understanding of how the hell did Wendy Williams get here legally, right? So I'm not going to give up on my cousin, and I hope she sees this. That's why I'm calling her out. So that we can figure out, like, legally, how did she get here? And how the hell did she get out of this? Also, y'all, there is a GoFundMe, okay, that is set up because Wendy's gonna need good lawyers, literally, to fight for her life. That is so crazy to say, y'all. Oh my God, I'm about to share my screen really quick, okay? I'm gonna share my screen and I'm going to put the link for the GoFundMe. Can y'all see? I'm gonna put the link for the GoFundMe in the chat. All right. But and if you had any experience with conservatorship or, being in a relationship that, really broke you down and you weren't yourself after it, right? Share your experience in the chat. I really would love to hear from you so we could talk about it because, like I said, this is not a one-time conversation. Let's see here. Here is, y'all, the even seeing the wording, y'all. Like here's the link, y'all. Okay. I know I'm definitely gonna go there and donate. So support Wendy Williams, fight for independence. That's the link to her GoFundMe. She's gonna need lawyers. She's trying to get free of the situation and get closer to her family by going to Florida. We love you, Wendy Williams. And I love y'all. If you haven't yet, make sure you like, subscribe at Radio-Muva, Radio MUVA on YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, Facebook, Instagram. We still on the fence and in prayer about X and Blue Sky. We're not there yet. But make sure you subscribe and turn the notification bells on. And leave your comments in the chat. Join the crew. And if you want to support me and support the show as we grow, you can send donations to Cash App, $ Radio MUVA. $ Radio-Muva. I love y'all. Can't wait to hear what you think about it. And we'll talk about it some more.